A handful of European companies may be subject to U.S. sanctions over their business in Iran. One America's Kristian Rouz has more.
The Treasury Department is warning U.S. allies in Europe they could be subject to secondary sanctions if they continue doing business with the Ayatollah regime in Iran. This comes as the EU is working to preserve the Iran nuclear deal, but the U.S. pulled out of the accord in early May, starting a 90 to 180-day wind-down period to reimpose its toughest sanctions against Iran yet.
As I said, the president is very focused on Iran and Iran sanctions. There's a lot of issues that are going on.
Treasury Undersecretary Sigil Mandelker said the Islamic Republic has been exploiting the global financial system to finance its proxies in the Middle East, such as terror groups Hamas and Hezbollah. This might be a sign the US is seeking to completely cut the Ayatollah regime off the dollar economy, a ban that would affect Iranian financial assets and liabilities as well. The EU has already requested exemptions from the Iran sanctions for its companies, as European oil giants such as Italy's Eni, UK's BP and France's Total have major investments and joint ventures with the National Iranian Oil Company, or NIOC.
If they have business in the United States, they face the prospect of sanctions against their business arm in the United States if they stay in Iran. So industry-wide sanctions, which would make it for them illegal under US law to engage in this business.
The Treasury urged European private sector enterprises to make sure their money didn't go to finance the Islamic Republic's activities associated with its export of perpetual Islamic revolution into the rest of the Middle East. Additionally, the Treasury said Iranian proxies have been involved in terror activity and human rights abuses, meaning business ties between European companies and the Islamic Republic could fall under the provisions against terror financing. In response, EU officials urged the US to refrain from cracking down on Iran in order not to harm Europe's security interests.
We've assured them of our determination to fight so that the decisions taken by the United States do not have repercussions on French companies who invested in Iran. We told them that from France's perspective, and this is the position of the president, that extraterritorial decisions of American sanctions were unacceptable to us.
This comes despite Iran's recent statement it would resume its production of nuclear weapon ingredients, such as highly enriched uranium, whilst also continuing its ballistic missile program. The Treasury urged the Islamic Republic to cease its support of terror groups, abandon its aggressive policies in the Middle East, and improve its human rights record, or else Iran will face an imminent economic collapse. The department stressed its secondary sanctions would serve to prevent the EU from helping Iran circumvent the US sanctions, whilst the Defense and State Departments are working to curb the Iranian nuclear threat.
We will ensure freedom of navigation on the waters in the region. We will work to prevent and counteract any Iranian malign cyber activity. We will track down Iranian operatives and their Hezbollah proxies operating around the world, and we will crush them.
Despite the EU's efforts to save the deal, its negotiations with Iran have recently faltered, whilst the Ayatollah regime commissioned a centrifuge in the recent days to resume uranium enrichment. In this light, Europe has little choice but cut its economic ties with Iran yet again, or risk an elevated political turmoil at home, as some European parties have long been skeptical of the Ayatollah regime's true intentions.
I want to stress we're under no illusions about the stuff Iran gets up to in the region, in the Middle East. We have no illusions about Iran's disruptive behavior, but we think we can tackle those in other ways outside the JCPOA.
The Treasury is expected to start reinstating some of its Iran sanctions by early August, while a full embargo against the Islamic Republic could be put in place by the end of this year. Kristian Rouz, One American News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.